In any case, yes, I'm Lewis from Turnitin, and yeah, today I'll be taking you through our products and functionality. I've just jotted down basically what I'll be going through on this little notes tab. So we'll start with the Moodle integration. That's of course the LMS you use. So you want to see how Turnitin sits within that workflow. Should be pretty straightforward because it's an existing integration. Then I'll go to some of our basic similarity detection functionality. That is to do with students, say, copying things off the internet or off other students, either at your own institution or another institution. Then I'll move on to some advanced cheating methods, such as contract cheating, paying other people to complete the assignments, or manipulating the document in certain ways to try to trick the educators. From there, we'll go into AI writing. So the latest in misconduct with sort of ChatGPT and other generative AI tools being freely available to students. How do they work? What the impact is potentially, and how can we help you guys to detect it? Then from there, some other features of our products, which are feedback, grammar, and grading. So yeah, so here we have Moodle test account. As I alluded to before, it's an existing integration, so you don't have to do any fancy IT or developer work to set things up. You simply need a Moodle account and a Turnitin account to download the Turnitin plugin onto Moodle and to link that to your Turnitin account through a pretty easy series of steps that we'll guide you through in any case. So what you do, you turn editing on to add Turnitin to a particular assignment, add an activity or resource, and we'll select assignment as you usually would. So this is our most simple integration. Then we can see here that it's all the same. Moodle features, Moodle settings, but you'll see this one, Turnitin plagiarism plugin settings, and then you'll be able to enable Turnitin for that particular assignment. There's various settings that I won't go into now, but that's essentially as easy as it is to add Turnitin to a Moodle assignment once it's set up. Then from there, this is what you end up with, a regular Moodle assignment inbox with the file submission. It's all the same, the student names, the status, and then the file. And then you see here, though, there's a Turnitin ID and a link out to whichever product it is that you use Turnitin for. I'll just click on this just to show you it works. So this is just a basic Turnitin report with Feedback Studio with originality. Were there any questions on how it sits within the Moodle system or how it integrates? If not, it's pretty straightforward. And yeah, we do have training to help you set things up when you first start in any case. So yeah, usually not too many questions on that. I'll move into the basic similarity. As I said before, these are just sort of test papers from my native account, but whether you're using it in Moodle or through any means, you simply click on the percentage to open up the product. This is Feedback Studio. This is a good one to showcase, the basic similarity detection. So what you might first notice when using Turnitin is you'll have a similarity score. This one's 57%. It doesn't necessarily mean it's 57% plagiarized. It just means that 57% of the text from the document is matched to our text database. Our text database is consistent and includes over 1.8 billion student papers from institutions all around the world, including a few universities from PNG, and over 78 billion archived internet pages, as well as millions of pages of professional research. So don't be surprised if there are matches. It just depends exactly what extent those matches go to and how they appear compared with your standards for the assignment. Here we have 57% internet source and student paper being the main two. So they come up in the match overview section, which gives you the largest matches. For the internet source, it's really simple. Their sources obviously correspond numerically to the highlights on the page. If we click on the one, what will happen is a bubble appears and populates with the match text from that internet site within the context of how it appears on the internet page. What we can then do is click on this button for a full source view, meaning that the right-hand side will all populate with the text from the internet site, and you can have a side-by-side comparison with what the student has produced compared with what the internet source has on it. This is good because it means that the educators don't have to go to the internet site. They don't have to, put sentences into Google and then go to the site and match them up and then create a report. It's all available instantaneously for them to make a judgment. We can see here that the student has changed a few words in this sentence, but in these two sentences, they've just cut and pasted. And that's essentially as simple as that is. Were there any questions on the internet match? If not, I'll roll on, but yeah, feel free to interrupt at any time. This one is a student paper match, number 2. These ones are a bit different. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Maybe you speak then. Maybe.
Can you go through that step again?
Can you hear me, Lois?
Yes.
Did you hear the query from staff?
No, what was it? Sorry.
He said, can you go through the steps again, what you did right now?
The internet match steps?
Yes.
Okay, sure. So this is an internet source match, number 1. So what you can do is click on the one here, or click on the one. Then it will populate this match here in a text box within the context of how it appears on this website. You don't have to go to the website itself, but you can if you want. Then you can click on this button here, which will give you a full source view. What this does, once we click, is it populates the right-hand column with the text from this internet site that we have found is a match to what the student has written. And then you can see side by side whether the student has changed a few words, they could have a very small match or link to the internet page, or in this section, whether they've copied 2 sentences here. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. Then with the student matches, it's a little bit different. It could be a match to a student at a different university or different educational institution. That's this example. What would happen there? You can see the words that are a match. If we click on the 2, though, this time, it will come up with the institution's name, but a message about privacy, because we won't ever share your student details or share the details of any students, any private data across institutions. But what we're concerned about is catching this as a match. What you can do is click on this button, and then that will take you to a page where you can send a request to that institution to view that paper in full or the match in full. And then their admin will get an email, and they can either accept or deny. But really what's important is just, finding that is a match. If it's 2 students at your own institution, then you'll be able to find out who that is, because that's your own intellectual property. And there's no data shared across institutions. This is important because students can do the same assignments at different universities if they're doing the same subjects, email them to each other, share contents, and then try to pass it off as their own. The other thing this will help you with is if students do the same courses but in different years, they can email each other and exchange assignments. And then it's pretty tough to figure that out on your own if it's the same assignment 1 year later with just a few things changed. But our service will add those assignments to the database if you so choose, and then they'll come up as a match for next time. So do you think that would help you with the student collusion and plagiarism?
Okay.
Yep. All makes sense. There are a couple of other things to show you. There's an all sources view, which usually would have a lot more sources. You can exclude them if you like. If you think, no, that's okay, they can source from there. The assignment has told them to source heavily from, this website. So that's okay. We can exclude that. If you do exclude them from the report, they will live down in this section in the excluded sources, which you can restore one, multiple, or all back to the report. There are also some settings and filters that you can set up when you create the assignment. We have here to exclude quotes, so they won't count as a match. And the bibliography, the reference list at the bottom, won't count as a match. Then you can also exclude sources that are less than a total number of words or a certain percentage of the overall assignment. We saw that the student match was about 6%. So if we increase the threshold to 10, for example, and apply the changes, that will exclude this from being a match. You can just do a bit of trial and error on this to see what's sort of acceptable and what's not. If you have the threshold lower, are you highlighting too many passages? Or if you have it higher, are you not catching enough? So you can set it to the right percentage for you and that particular assignment. We'll put that back down to 5 and it will come back up. Then the other thing here that I'll show you on this example just quickly is one question. So a couple of frequently asked questions. Firstly, can the student see this report? And you can set it up so they can. So the students can submit to Moodle and then see this and then be able to resubmit before the due date. The point of that is that the students can get a good view of whether they've referenced properly or whether they have original content, and they can learn from it. You can use it more as a learning tool than a policing tool, and that will help the students. And then more likely they'll submit things that are more original, and then the educators don't have to go back to them and tell them to resubmit. So it saves time for them and it's a better experience. That's how we recommend you use the service. The other thing is, I get asked a lot, how do we say if it's 90% plagiarized, how can we get a report and send that to a academic services officer or whoever deals with a misconduct case? You can simply click this button to download a PDF. And what you do is you download it in its current view with these settings applied and the highlights on. Okay, from there, I'll go on to what was next, the advanced cheating methodology. So this has covered the basics, whether they copy from our database of internet sites, research, or student papers. Now I'll go on to sort of contract cheating and document manipulation with another example. So what students can do is, once they started using our service years ago and realized they couldn't do what I just showed you, that gave rise to contract cheating services, which charge students for them to do the assignments on behalf of the student. So it's very hard to detect because it's not plagiarism, copy paste, or copying off students exactly, but it's just someone else doing the work for them, which is also obviously very bad. So here we add document details tab. This gives your educators an initial indication of whether this might have occurred. It has data from the document that might lead you to believe that it wasn't the student themselves that produced that document. It has things like author name and what device it was last, or which user it was last modified by. So if it's a user you know that the student wouldn't be, then that can trigger a red flag. When they submitted, different paper sizes, classes, software used, different fonts, languages, spelling. There's also known contract cheating templates, use of commas, and various other pieces of data that can be included here. So it's really handy because you can get straight away a quick view of whether the student might have contract cheated or not. You also have a back-end reporting system. So that looks like this, a risk assessment dashboard with all the students' data, and the data passes back through to this. So you'd have one, what's called investigator, managing this dashboard that can see which students are flagged for critical or high priority investigation. You can download reports based on different dates and classes, and then go from there to make a case for potential contract cheating. I'll send you through a video on this as well afterwards that more explains the dashboard and the investigator tool in detail. The other things that students can do is manipulate the document by changing the characters and including white text within the document. This will be raised as a flag for the educators. Here we can see two flags on this document: replace characters and hidden text. Replace characters is when they replace a certain character with the characters from a different set. They may look the same, but they're not. And what this does is it tricks basically cheap similarity detection services, because they'll read this as completely different to the actual text. Ours will as well, but it will flag it. So you can instantly see if they've done it. What they've done here is find and replace the E's with Cyrillic E's. There's also hidden text, that's white text. What the students might try to do is put in white quotes or white characters between words. So the cheap providers will see this as just one word, and that will obviously not be a match. It's a more high school thing to do, but they can add white characters to reach a certain word threshold if the assignment, say, has to be 1,000 words. But our service will catch that out either way. So were there any questions on sort of the advanced functionality? If not, I can move on to the next section, AI writing. So what we'll do for this is we'll make it interesting, and we can go to ChatGPT itself. Basically, for the uninitiated, the rise of generative AI tools started probably towards the end of last year and became really a factor in education at the start of this year, especially because of tools such as this, ChatGPT 3.5, where anyone sort of over 18 or who says they're 18 can access this for free. And what they can do is type a prompt for the artificial intelligence to, respond to. So you can type anything in here. It can create essays of 1,000 words, and it can answer short answer questions. It can do all sorts of things. So what would you guys want me to put in here to test it out? Would you want me to try to get it to write an essay or answer a question? Like what sort of assignments would you guys be likely to have that students might use this for?
Yeah. Yeah, write an essay and then you can demonstrate, and it will help us to understand properly.
Yeah, sure. So an essay on any particular subject?
And
Essay on plagiarism.
We'll see what it does. So look how quick it is. And you can ask it to stop generating. But I think because I said 1,000 words, it should just do 1,000 words. Let's see. We'll just let it go. It's sort of interesting for me as well because I don't really use this a lot. But yeah, it's conclusion already. So you see how quick that was? And then the students can obviously like edit it and whatnot, copy paste straight from it. There's no, extra charge to be able to take the content and then put it in a Word document, right? And then let's have a look. What was the word count? 896, so pretty close. So we can save this. Plagiarism essay. And then what I'll do is I can upload it on my account if you like, just to see if we can detect it. So I'll upload it here. I'll just stop sharing for a sec because when I go to select the file, it will have other content there. Just give me a quick second. I'll just close the file as well. Should be saved. Then upload. I'll share again. Yeah, plagiarism essay and confirm. So we'll see here, this is one I did pretty much the same thing on for humanities, because I know you guys have humanities essays. So I can just show you this one in the meantime while the other one loads. So it's pretty similar because it'd have no, that's an indicator as well. If a student ever has 0% similarity score, it's a pretty big red flag that they might have done something. But yeah, you see AI 100%. And it looks pretty good, right? This essay reads really well. But as you can see, there's no references or whatnot. So the students would have to manipulate it a bit, but you can see we've detected that. See if it's the same with this one. Yeah, same with this. So which is good because it'd be pretty embarrassing if that didn't work. But you can see this will probably have 0% as well. Yeah, 0% similarity. And then 100% AI. So you can see how quick it was to create this essay. And then the students can obviously change the formatting, change a few words and whatnot. And I can show you an example of where they've done that. But you can see how quick it is. And because that's free, students are just starting to try their luck and do it instead of actually learning the work, which means it's a big risk for educational quality and integrity. But what happens is, yeah, this is another section essentially and a separate report. So it'll click out to a separate report that shows you, it goes by sentence basically. So which sentences are likely to have been generated by AI. And there's a lot of good resources, frequently asked questions, etc., that you can link out to. But yeah, and you can also now, I believe, download these. Yeah, you can download these reports too, which is great. So if the students haven't copy pasted or anything, but they've used this, you can get the report immediately. So how this works is you give it a prompt as we did, and then it chooses the next most logical word in a sequence and produces it. So this is trained on billions of pieces of text from the wider internet, essentially. And that's how it works. It gives the most next logical word in a sequence after being given a prompt. So what our software does is use our own AI to detect how frequently that's happening. And if it just keeps happening over and over again in a sentence, we'll flag that sentence as potentially written by AI. I'll show you another couple of examples. So we've got here a Civil War essay, and we'll have a look at this one first, 47%. Similarity score, that is. This is maybe slightly more realistic. I mean, you might have some students that simply just do the prompt, copy, paste, and upload at the last minute sort of thing, but you might have something like this occur. This is sort of a high school level essay on the American Civil War. We can see here that this one has 47% similarity score, got quite a few matches, etc. And it reads pretty straightforward. It reads okay, blah, blah, blah. And you might think, oh, there might be a bit of a problem with this. Yeah, some of the matches might be a bit too similar, a lot of paraphrasing, but it might be okay. But yeah, you might, actually, especially this part and a few of the others, if you're an educator, you might have a bit of feedback for the student there. Then we have another one, Civil War essay number 2. This one looks better on the surface in terms of similarity. Only 29%, reads pretty much the same. You know, there's a few sources which you'd expect, a few matches, but less, 29%. Not a lot of just blatant copy and pasting, but you can see here that the AI detector has detected 63%. So we can go to that. It looks better on the surface, but then once you delve into it, or this whole part essentially at the top has been flagged. And then, yeah, even more down the bottom. So they've sort of done a bit of both. They've used AI for quite a bit of it and done some of their own content, it appears, on some of the other parts. That just gives you, an idea of how tricky it is, and the fact that you pretty much can't detect it on your own unless it's extremely obvious. Sometimes you can detect it if the ChatGPT is given a prompt it can't, like on a moral dilemma or something, where it can't say, and it spits out something like, oh, because I am an AI generator, I can't actually have an opinion on that. That's pretty much the only, and then if the student uploads that, then you'll be able to know. But if they do it properly, then it's extremely hard to tell. But we have the technology to help you with it. So yeah, were there any questions on how, ChatGPT, how it works, how our AI writing works, or anything along those lines before I move on? What do you guys sort of think of that?
Lewis,
Yes.
is it detecting the OCR format also? I mean, if they submit the assignment through the PDF as an image content, then the text can't read, right?
It's got to be text. So text on a Word document or a PDF document. It can't be like written text that's scanned in. So you need the students to submit like in an online format, Word, PDF, even like Excel or PowerPoint for those sort of assignments. It will work for, but yeah, the text has to be online text.
Okay.
Yep. Were there any other questions before I move on? I think we're up to the feedback, grammar, and grading section. If there are any other questions, just shout out or put them in the chat and I'll get to them. Otherwise, I'll just keep going and show you the remaining features. So we'll just go back to this example. This one. And then, we'll go to the feedback, grading, and grammar. Now, this was just to recap, Turnitin Feedback Studio with originality. Although I showed you all the features on different examples, because no one sort of sample paper will showcase every type of misconduct. Usually they only do one thing. It has the similarity score for the text database match, flags for document manipulation, document details for contract cheating, and then AI detector as well. So it has all that. Once you've checked all that, if it's all okay, then what you want to do, of course, is grade the assignment and provide feedback on it. You can do this, you can leave the similarity highlights on if you want to comment on them, potentially, or you could switch them off if you're happy with what the student's written and you just want to focus on the content itself. For this example, we might just leave it on and make a couple of comments. You can switch the grading on, but really you can just click anywhere to activate it. The most simple thing you can do is select the T icon, which gives you the chance to do a freehand comment. This just sits on the assignment and is automatically saved. You can drag this around wherever you like and delete if necessary. What you would want to do, though, probably is go into more detail and highlight passages such as this one, and then make a comment with the comment box, the speech bubble icon. this will bring up a comment box, which can be color coded if you have any sort of theme to the feedback. You can use bold, italic, underline, or hyperlink functionality. We'll just key in a comment here. This has clearly been cut and pasted from the internet. Then with the hyperlink functionality, you can direct them to an online resource, examples of correct information, anything that will help the student. The text is how it appears, what they click on. So we'll go click here. The URL is the web page. We'll just go to Google, just so it works. For an example, click here for a better understanding on referencing or whatever it is. Then we click out. Once again, automatically saves. The student can come back in after the due date, see this is highlighted and they have a piece of feedback, read the comment, and then even click out to a resource. To go one step further, if you're an educator and you're grading the same assignments all the time, you might be writing the same pieces of feedback, in which case you can convert these comments to a quick mark. Quick marks are essentially inbuilt comments in the system, so you don't have to type them out each time. An example of this, we see something that's copied and pasted. Again, we'll click here, select the tick for quick mark, and select it from the set. This one is a completely different set to the one I usually use. So just, here we go, Lewis's quick marks, taken from an internet source, this one would be. And you can see it, the comment populates. You can even add to it if you like. Got something in the chat. How does Turnitin determine the difference between the original writing of a student from the AI writing? Can it mistakenly identify it as AI writing? Well, yeah, not usually. So the AI writing works once given a prompt, choosing the most generic next word or most likely next word in a sequence. And if it keeps coming up with that, then it'll be flagged as AI writing. All the student really needs to do to not be flagged is to write far enough away from the average, consistently enough for it not to be detected. There are some cases of false positives. I think we're sitting at about 1% false positives, and it's more likely if it's a really small piece of writing, say 200 words or less, where it might be a bit tricky. Also, our software is designed to give you an indication as sort of a starting point for your investigation into misconduct. It's not designed to be sort of the be all and end all. So what you would do if the student sort of claims that it's their own writing, you might sit down with the student and have a chat to them and ask them how they came up with some of the ideas in the essay or assignment and see if that matches up to the piece of work they submitted. So does that make sense? Okay. Yep. Yeah, cool. So that's something you can do if there's a bit of, it's something that we'd probably advise you to do anyway, you know, if they've been flagged heavily for AI writing and you're not too sure, yeah, have a sit down with the student and see if they can explain their assignment, see if they understand the content, etc. And if they don't, then it's pretty obvious that they may have just used ChatGPT or another software. Yeah, really, really good question though. And then, yeah, just back to the feedback. As you saw, these quick marks essentially allow you to just give feedback instantaneously without having to type it out. It can be positive, negative, instructional. It can really be sort of anything. Sorry, I don't think anything came up there, but you get the idea. Do you think your educators could use this functionality? Are you using anything similar at the moment to give feedback to students?
At the moment, no.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then these can be customized as well, so you can add them as you go by converting to quick mark and adding to your set. It just means that you're adding the things you usually say to an inbuilt comment, and then that allows you to simply highlight or click anywhere, do 2 ticks, and you've provided feedback to the student to help the student and to save you time also. The other things here in the section, I mean, there's a quick mark management tool as well, I could mention. This is where you select which quick mark you use. There's a lot of inbuilt sort of sets to Turnitin, but you just simply create your own. You can also sort of download them and whatnot, import new sets, share them between instructors at the institution, which is great too. Then we also have rubrics for grading. This one's a really simple rubric that I created, just out of 4 for content, grammar, structure and language, but you can create these, of course, to be anything you like. Once you give a score for each, you apply it to the grade here, and then that grade will pass back to the Moodle system to count towards the course progression. So if they pass, then what you can do also is link the feedback to the grade that they get. For example, if they get a poor score with content, could be because they copied a lot, assign criterion content, and it will come up. If I'm a student, I wonder, oh, why did I get that score? Click there, and it highlights on the page instantaneously. Similar to the quick marks, the rubrics have a management tool where you can select them. You can also create them on Excel sheets and upload them, edit them, select which one you're using for a particular assignment, and go into the management tool to see what constitutes, say, a poor for content, not all original or relevant to the discussion, etc. So that's a 1, etc. Whereas if they have excellent grammar, that'll get them a 4, just to help you out while you are grading. The rubrics can obviously be anything you like, created and shared around the institution as well. The other thing we have here is feedback summary section. This is generally in place of, say, an email you'd send to the student, maybe a meeting you'd have with the student, or something such as the Moodle feedback box, which you can just key in a few words to. You can do that here with these same features, bold, italic, underline, and hyperlink. You can also record yourself speaking to the student. This can be good if you want to convey the tone of your feedback a bit better than through writing. Can be good for students that suffer from dyslexia or similar afflictions, whereby a whole string of words is quite hard to digest. And it can be good if you just think that particular student will respond better to the feedback. And you can also speak in other languages, of course, as well, which makes that easy to do. Simply record yourself by clicking here, get up to 3 minutes, then delete it if you're not happy with it, or just save it, and then the student comes back in and simply hits play. That's pretty much it for the feedback. Then with the grammar, this is for students and educators as well. When the student submits, it just highlights things that may be grammatically incorrect. What you can do is you can click on it if you're in the instructor view and add a comment, or dismiss it if you don't agree. But if you're a student, it's valuable because you can submit. If things are wrong, you can view the handbook to get an explanation as to why that came up. This can be set automatically to go to the advanced section, which is what you'd want. It gives you more detailed explanation, whereas the elementary section, for example, gives a more basic explanation. So for your level of education, you'd want in the settings, assignment settings, automatically set that to advanced, and it'll be better. Then that's pretty much all I had to show you. Just to recap, similarity here. Then we have document details here. There's not many on this example. Flags, of course, AI detection, feedback and grading, and grammar scan. And that's basically all I have to show you for today. So just open it up and just check if there were any other questions, whether you were, or any other thoughts, whether that was what you sort of expected to see. Do you think the functionality would benefit you a lot? And yeah, just see what you have to say before we wrap it up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you now. Far away.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
For an assignment, I have some prepared answers. Can I use it for grading using this program?
Yeah.
My keys, I use the keys. It has single response, but descriptive answers. I can use it to grade an assignment.
Yeah, are you using that through the Moodle quiz functionality, or is that in a file?
In a file.
Yeah, it has more rubric scoring. So you saw the rubrics.
Yeah.
You could potentially configure that per question, but it really works more for sort of essays. You can give it like an overall score if you want, and just comment the points value next to the questions.
Okay.
But I mean, you could do that. It's not exactly how the service is designed, but there's probably ways for you to do that, especially if you just want to give an overall grade.
Okay. Right. Thanks for that. Apart from that, can we check the images and tables with this function?
No, it's only text matching software.
Oh, okay.
In the future, we might move towards image detection as well, but for now, it's mostly just to do with text matching and document data and AI detection.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that.
No worries. Thanks for your question.
Okay.
I have a question in the chat. If an assignment submitted previously to the Turnitin software is saved, does it mean it can identify as self-plagiarism? Yes. Yes, it can. So yeah, if you have a student submit it, say one institution, that adds to the database, submit the same thing in another institution, or submit the same thing in another year, it'll come up as a match. If you want things removed from the database, you can contact our support team to have them removed if that's something you want to do.
I have the question on because I'm doing things online with online tests. Currently I'm using Google Form, but with the Turnitin, do we have are you able to block off sites when they're doing the test online?
Blocking off sites for a test. I think that's sort of a different service that you might be looking for. Turnitin is just for after the file is submitted. It can't block, students using internet sites. You'd need like a browser lockdown tool or something for that. We do have different software that can help with examinations, but which I can send you some info about, but that's sort of a completely different requirement and conversation. What are you looking to do exactly? Stop the students accessing different sites when doing an exam? Yeah, okay, sure. Well, I can send you some information about one of our other products, which is for examinations, but it's completely sort of different to Turnitin. How long will it be taken to assess an assignment by Turnitin? So as in, how long will Turnitin take to generate the report? Only a minute or two. And then, as far as using the feedback grading, all those tools, it's entirely up to you and the level of detail you want to go to. But in terms of how long Turnitin takes to generate the reports after submission, usually only takes a minute or so, as you saw with that submission I uploaded before. Might take a little bit longer if it's a really, really large assignment. Might take 5 minutes, but really not long. So the students can get their instant sort of feedback on the similarity and the grammar. Good question. How do we access this? Any free online service? You access this by getting an account with our product. They're minimum 12-month licenses. Then it's plugged in to the learning management system, so Moodle. And then if you're an educator, you'll be able to add this to an assignment and then be able to click on that assignment, links out to the Turnitin product, and you can use the features. And then we have customer onboarding training as part of the package when you first sign up. So that includes up to an hour of administrator training, whereby our team take you through how to set up the integration and settings, make sure that's all working well. And then separate to that, up to 2 hours of educator training, which is recorded also. That's for the, say, instructors and professors that would be creating the assignments, how to configure the settings, how to use all the features, how to identify different types of misconduct that I've shown you, how to introduce the service to students and support them. And it's very sort of robust and professional training for when you first start using the service. Okay, I might stop recording. And